Hey, see what I mean? You're gonna stream on my couch here. My camera's falling in my face. All right. So I think we're ready to get started. Everybody have their questions ready, hopefully. So I haven't done one of these in a long time. I used to do these every week. Uh, the best way to do this is the more questions people have, the better. Because we want to turn this into a discussion. Uh, I don't want to just talk at people. So if people have questions, please ask them. I'm going to be going over uh, the basics of strength and conditioning, why we lift weights, especially why women should lift weights, health benefits of gaining muscle, uh, why the health industry is moving away from muscle isolation, which is more, what bodybuilders used to do back in the day. We don't need to do that anymore. And kind of the best way to work out for your time. Next, we'll go over the importance of nutrition. Uh, we're going to talk about macros. We're going to talk about, what's considered nutritious. Why is something nutritious? We'll discuss the foods that are nutritious, and then we'll discuss strategies to eat healthy. This is when I would like to kind of have more of a discussion with people. Uh, so, like I said, I don't want to talk to everybody. I want people to kind of join in and discuss, some of their strategies, what they do to help. And the last topic we're going to do is we're going to go over some myths of the gym that everyone hears, such as what I constantly hear from women is that they don't want to bulk up. Uh, we're going to go over, you know, just machines you don't need to use that are kind of, you think they're toning specific areas. We're going to talk about the reduction, and then we're going to kind of have question hour after that. So, first topic, uh, the basics of strength and conditioning. So I wrote a blog about this. Sure, not everybody's read it. Uh, and I kind of based my small group around these fundamentals. So it's called periodization. And it's kind of what athletes do to get ready for a season. Uh, so if you're doing, if you're lifting weights and you're doing, let's say 15 plus uh, reps, uh, that is considered muscle endurance. So it's not so much working on this camera really needs. Hold on 2 seconds. All right, hopefully that fixed it. All right, so uh, where was it? Yeah, so muscle endurance. You'll see a lot in the Group X classes. They're doing just tons and tons of reps. Uh, you know, more for you really feel like you're working your muscles, and it feels like they're kind of toning. Uh, when in fact, the burning sensation that you're feeling is just lactic acid built up in your muscles from just use. There's also kind of that myth, that you tone by doing more reps. There's some truth to this because when you're doing more reps, you tend to get your heart rate up more. If your heart rate's up more, you'll burn more calories. So it can help you lose weight quicker. In all these reps that you're doing, there's some correlation between each one. So say you're doing reps of 12, you're not only doing muscle endurance. So uh, you will gain strength and you can build muscle that way. It's just not the ideal way. So next, for muscle building, this is essentially you're building the cross-sectional area of your muscle to kind of make you look bigger. And it has a lot. There's a huge correlation between that and strength. Ideally, you want to stick to about 8 reps. Uh, you know, I ask people this all the time. It's like, okay, you're doing 8 reps, but how do you know you're doing enough? Does anybody know? While you think about it, I'll keep talking. Uh, the next one is strength, where if you're working on getting stronger, um, the ideal rep range is 6. Uh, so once again, you know you're lifting enough weight because that's the biggest thing. If you're doing a rep range of 6 and you're doing 5 pounds, you're not going to get stronger that way. You need to increase the weight every time you go down the reps. So trade-off. Uh, anybody so far? Anybody know? How do you know how much weight you're lifting? Uh, after that, the next rep range is for power. Now, people are probably asking, what's the difference between strength? So, Amanda, by the 6th or 7th rep, it hurts real bad. Like gets harder and harder as you do them. Okay, well, you're almost right. So, say you're doing sets of 3. That shouldn't happen on the first set. That should happen maybe on the second or third. But other than that, yeah, you're right. That's how you kind of know that you're lifting enough weight. Intensity is the biggest aspect of weightlifting. The intensity isn't there and you're not getting out of your comfort zone, you will not change. Uh, People are programmed to get habits. They're programmed to, uh, you know, form routines. The good thing about trainers is that they get you out of those routines and they will always push you harder than you will push yourself. It's just a mental thing. So that's why people tend to see a lot better results and the accountability. Joyce, when you start to shake, yeah, I mean, pretty much. So, why are you shaking? Let's do that as well. Any questions so far? Please feel free to ask. Uh, so power. Power is considered strength times speed. How fast, how fast you can lift something, uh, how fast you can lift a heavy weight. So, like, I'm sure you've seen maybe in the CrossFit games, stuff like that. cleans, where they're getting up like that, jerks where they're going over their head, uh, all that stuff. They're all really fast motions that require excellent form. That's why you should really never do them for time. CrossFit does a lot. CrossFit is the basis of their workouts are really good because a lot of them are designed to push you to your limit. Linda, strength versus definition. What do you mean by that? Michelle, how long until you start seeing results like looking more toned? So toned, Michelle, it comes from food. We're going to discuss this later. How long, that's really up to you. Different for everybody. Very broad kind of. That's a tough question. So, Sheila, so which is best for overall weight loss? Power, strength? So, that's another good question. You always want to switch it up, first off. But, the answer is all of them, depending on how you lift. Because, burning calories, stuff like that, really comes down to getting your heart rate up, right? So endurance, you're doing a lot of reps, which tends to get your heart rate up more. But if you're lifting for strength, say you did a strength circuit where you're constantly moving, that's going to get your heart rate up just as much. So, there's many different ways to do it. How many times a week should you be doing weightlifting exercises focused strictly on muscle building? Your goal is to build muscle. So let me answer that first. So if you want to build muscle, 3 times a week is pretty good. If you can only come twice a week, I would just increase the sets that you're doing for those particular. So say you were doing 3 times a week at 3 sets per, but now you can only do 2 days a week, and increase it to like 4 sets. How many exercises, how many sets, how many minutes per day? So how many exercises, that's really up to you. When it comes to building muscle, I always tell people you want to do compound exercises, use your whole body every time. That's going to greatly cut down your time at the gym. It's just overall better for you. And the more muscles you work at once, it helps every other muscle out. How many sets? So set-wise, I just kind of answered that. How many minutes per day? Minutes per day is up to you. It's about what you put into it. You can get a great workout in a half hour. That's what my classes are based around, Burn TSC. People are dying after that half hour. But then you see people coming in, like a lot of the regulars, they'll be there for 3 hours. But it's because they're taking about 15 minutes in between sets. So, my response to that is just, it's intensity. It's how hard you work. And so pretty much just get your ass to the burn class all the time. The way I do things, you'll see that a lot of people in my classes, they're in great shape. And they're like that for a reason. So, that's my answer to that. Examples of compound exercise. All right, Joyce. So compound exercises, meaning you're working more than one muscle at once. So some examples of that are squats, deadlifts, pushing the sled, squat curl. So the power exercises like cleans, that stuff. Let me say that the 2 best exercises that you can do to build muscle are squats and deadlifts. Because they're just total body great exercise. Can you add a Monday burn class? Like, please make a poll. I mean, it's a possibility, man. It really is. It really comes down to the more demand there is, then the more I'll free up my schedule to accommodate that. I love doing the class. So, more people we can get in here, more classes on it. Danielle, do we know how heavy the sled is? I could look at. I would just Google it. Let's say like 15 pounds. You really don't know because I'll find out the brand. I'd probably say maybe 3 pounds. All right. So, any more questions? If I went everything. Why lift? So, why build muscle? Why lift weight? Uh, this is especially important the older you get. You don't want your muscles to atrophy. Uh, this is good. The old saying, if you don't use them, you lose them. It's true, especially when it comes to your muscles. Won't be able to walk as well. Everybody's had grandparents, parents as they get older. They stop moving. You get arthritis, stuff like that. The first instinct is to not move, when in fact, by moving, it makes it better. Yeah, it hurts, but it will make it better. Not sure if we went over why women should lift weights. Once again, I don't want to bulk up. Women can't bulk up the way that guys do. They don't have the testosterone. Simple as that. Uh, so you don't have to worry about that. If you see a woman that looks bulky, it's typically she's taking something. So, a lot of that's just. Sheila, okay, I can hardly move today after last night's group. Those ladder planks, are they compound exercise? Sheila, yes. With the ladder, we were doing lateral planks where you were using the whole front of your body. So yes, that's a compound exercise. If you are building muscle, are you also technically losing fat too? Like it should add in fat loss, right? Yeah, so I mean, uh, so one good way of doing it, you have your muscle, okay? And then you have your fat. They're two separate entities. Throughout your life, I'm sure you've heard that muscle turns into fat and vice versa. That's not true. They're two different things. Think of fat as extra energy that you haven't used. That's all fat is. So when you're eating all these high calorie foods and then not doing anything, your body's storing that energy for later as fat. So in order to tone, you need to keep the muscle, lose the fat, then you'll look a lot more toned. We'll go with that a little bit. The decimals at the gym that might be taking some. Yes, I agree. Rach, if I pull the muscle, is it still good to do the ladder planks we did even though I'm in pain? No. If you ever get sharp pains or anything like that, stay away from that and just let it rest. It means you kind of pulled something. A sharp pain, an acute pain, you don't want to work through. That's different than, say, feeling your muscles burn. That's a good thing. That's what's supposed to happen. We're able to do my normal life. So yeah, I mean, when we do stuff, and if your shoulder's hurting you, I will always, I'll give you another exercise to do, or we can monitor. How many sets are recommended for each muscle group? So if you're talking about muscle isolation, where you're doing, back in the day what bodybuilders used to do, uh, buys, tries, back, chest, stuff like that. it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, about the different reps and what they accomplish, strength, building, endurance. It depends what you're training for. Excuse me. Stretching, I'm so bad. Back to my comment, strength is definite. I want to see the muscle, not just lift a bunch. Okay, so Linda, if you want to see the muscle, you have to work on your diet. It's all nutrition. And then people tell me, oh, but I eat really well. There's always, you might think that, but there's stuff that you can always change. There's stuff that you might think is healthy, which really isn't. So, if you have questions about that, you can always write down what you eat. Don't leave off stuff because it's bad. That's the whole point. If anything, I'd rather you just give me the bad stuff that you eat, so that I can go through it and be more helpful. All right, so we're moving more away from muscle isolation, like I mentioned before. What is muscle isolation? So that's working a specific muscle group one at a time as opposed to compound exercise. That's what the machines are great for. That's why I never use the machines. Excuse me. And I like to focus a lot more on functional training, which the machines aren't. So when I say functional, it's how you use your body in everyday life. Are you ever sitting when you're pushing or doing anything like that? No, you're not. So why would you train like that? And then you have your secondary so when you're weightlifting, always do your biggest muscle groups first. Back, chest, legs. Legs are your biggest muscle. Focus on those first, and then you can do secondary muscles such as your biceps, triceps. So, I can get enough. So why you shouldn't muscle isolate? So you can still, but you'll spend a lot more time with the gym. If you want to maximize your time, then do a compound movement. Danielle, I think in the past you said something about adding the fiber and protein together and times that by 10. That number is close and equal to the number of calories and is considered good or healthy. Yep, you have that right. Yep, that's a really good, glad you remembered that. Yeah, that's a great way of seeing if something's healthy for you. Kind of works for it. Now, what is the best way to work out? So I'm sure people know us like run, just hit style classes where you're constantly moving. I consider the best way to work out. It's an opinion, uh, but it's the best way to maximize your time and uh, be healthy. You can see people that are jacked, shredded. See how they do when they run a mile. I bet they'll be out of breath in a quarter of a mile. Just there's a way to trick your body into looking good when in fact you're not even really that in shape. So burn classes by far the best. Well, so I run them like that for a specific reason because that's the best way to work out, like hands down. People have different opinions. I'd be happy to debate you about it. Good message me. So we're gonna move on. Any questions before I do? About weightlifting, the basics of strength and conditioning. anatomy, physiology, anything like that, why you do. Sheila, please share that trick. Which trick? We're talking about the fiber and protein one. Um, all right, so next, we are going to discuss the importance of nutrition. I can't emphasize enough that if you don't eat right, um, making your body look great. I don't know what you're talking about. If you don't eat right, you will not see the results that you're looking for. And not only that, you won't really get stronger either, or anything like that. Nutrition is about 80% of the battle when it comes to losing weight, feeling good, everything like that. If you don't properly, if you don't put the proper nutrients in your body, it won't function correctly. Joyce, so I need to gain more lean muscle mass. Are the burn classes enough, or do I need to squeeze in more time doing something? I think, Joyce, you're fine. You will, hopefully, you're eating enough protein. That's the only thing I can see that would stop you from gaining that lean muscle mass. If you know how much you're eating right now, tell me if it's enough. Typically, you should be getting 1 gram of protein per 2.2 pounds of body weight, which is a kilogram. Now, obviously, there's diminishing results. Somebody's 400 pounds. They're not going to eat 250 pounds of protein. I'd like to know how many calories to eat a day or protein. Yeah, we can, Michelle, we can sit down and go over that. Sometimes there's trial and error involved when trying to decide how many calories your body needs. Losing weight is not all about calories in versus calories out. That's not how it works. But, you should, first off, you need to figure out how many calories you're eating now, uh, and then go from there. A lot of people don't eat enough. That's a huge issue. And why people don't lose weight. I know that's like counterintuitive. People will be like, what are you talking about? It's called reverse dieting. You need to rev up your metabolism. You do that for a little bit, and then you cut calories, and you can see weight loss. Wait, how much protein per pound that way? 2.2. 0.2. I believe that's still the case. That's what it was when I was in school. It still sounds right. People, depending on your goals, a little more, a little less. Protein's also really good because it fills you up, which is, uh, if you were to do a general diet, the best way is a protein. So let's talk about macros. I'm sure people have a lot of questions about this. What are macronutrients? What should I be getting? Blah, blah, blah. So macronutrients are what makes up your food. If you look at the nutrition label and you add everything up, it's going to equal the calories at the top. So fat has 9 calories per gram. Carbs have 4 calories per gram, and protein has 4 calories per gram. Sheila, so if you don't really get hungry, is protein still important? Yes, protein is always important. It's the building block of your muscles. And if you want to continue to progress and get stronger, you're going to constantly need to feed those muscles. Like one of the trainers says at TS, feed those muscles. Protein is very, very important. So, what is considered nutritious? I bring this up to a lot of people. Everybody kind of knows what's good for them and what isn't. But why is a certain food nutritious? Put it into words. So I'd like you guys to think about that. One gram of protein per pound you weigh? No, that's yeah. Uh, I mean, they could be talking about. I don't even see why athletes. So yeah, what makes something nutritious? You know, you think about it. What's good for you. Always ask why though, with everything. I'm the type of person that always constantly, uh, I'm constantly asking why with everything that I do. And it's a blessing and a curse. I always want to know how something works. I want to know why I do what I do. Uh, I want to figure out the mysteries of everything. Michelle, no sugar. Yep, correct. So if something is good for you, it has no sugar. I mean, kind of broad, but no added sugar. It's kind of no added sugar. Uh, but, 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 so let's go over the various, you know, fruits, for example. There are good and bad fruits. I mean, think of everything in a hierarchy. You're not always going to be able to get the ideal nutrition at the ideal time. So you always want to pick your best option. So, you know, for say after a workout, you want to get some simple sugars in, you want to get some protein, stuff like that. Uh, what is your best option? You know, like say a burrito has a ton of protein, but it also has a ton of crap that's not good for you. So what's the next best option? Like uh, get like a muscle milk. That's still not the best for you. It has all sorts of crap, but it's better than a burrito. So think of stuff that way. So we talked, Danielle, so we talked about the importance of protein and fiber. How important is water when it comes to nutrition? Water is extremely important. Uh, your whole body just functions better when you're hydrated. Uh, Increase in metabolism, all the systems that run. So pretty much you're going to process everything better. Um, you're going to have more energy, everything. Your brain can mistake thirst or hunger for thirst. So sometimes you'll think you're hungry, get some water, you won't be hungry anymore, less calories. Linda, everyone moving towards fake sugars can't be good. Are you talking about like diet products, stuff like that? If so, yes, you are correct. Uh, that's kind of a marketing scam putting diet on it. It has no calories. People think they can drink as much as they want. Diet soda, for example, has aspartame, which is a fake sugar. It's seen to be very addictive. If drank enough, it actually remaps your gut biome. Like it's destroying you from the inside out. Fake sugars are usually sweeter than real sugar, meaning they're worse for your teeth. Uh, yeah, and also it just messes everything up. It's not good for you. That's the word. So I think we're moving more towards trying to find better fake sugar, which right now it's stevia. But with everything, uh, you don't know until you have proper time to properly study everything. So you'll have all these fad things come out, and they claim to be the next big thing, but you really don't know until you have the time to, for studies to happen, all sorts of stuff. So but the thing is, we don't know. So, people are going to push that on and be like, Steve, well, okay, I guess it's better than the other stuff. Uh, but like I said, you really don't know. The best way is to just eat clean and healthy, like we're talking about. So once again, what makes something nutritious? Nobody really kind of talked about that, or they didn't come up with a real good answer. The best answer I can have for you is the caloric to nutrition ratio. How much nutrition is in it? How many calories is it? Uh, you want something for the most nutrition for your buck, with putting the least amount of calories in it. So a common theme for something that is good for you is, say, a piece of chicken. It has like 20 grams of protein, and it's like 70 grams of, 70 calories. Like that's great. Like just a lean piece of like chicken breast with nothing else on it. That's what you have to look for. Gila, low sodium. Yep. Uh, Sodium, is an electrolyte. I'm sure you've heard that before. Without sodium, you would die. Your body does need sodium, but too much is not good for you. Kind of like anything. Uh, so yeah, try to stay away from low sodium. And non-processed. Okay, so what's considered processed? What does that mean? So we've all heard non-processed. Uh, but what does that mean? Strategies to eat healthy. So this is another thing. Uh, what kind of strategies do people use to eat healthy, such as meal prepping? What do you guys do when you go out food? How do you keep the pounds off? And what are the strategies? Danielle, just don't fry the poor bird. What did it ever do? Kraft mac and cheese. Are you saying that's an example of process? Then yes. So if you look on a package, and you'll see with a lot of bread, stuff like that, it's going to say enriched. That's bad. That's always pretty much processed. That's for like carbs. Air fryer. Uh, frying your food is just adding extra calories of fat. If it has a lot of ingredients you cannot pronounce, it's definitely processed. Yeah, yeah. Um, that just kind of means that they're genetically modifying everything, putting in chemicals to keep it fresh. Uh, Companies do that because it's cheaper It's cheaper in the long run to put all the chemicals in, make sure that doesn't go bad. That's typically why anything organic is so much more expensive because uh, they have to, there's the shelf life. What are some protein things to eat for breakfast? Uh, Eggs, fantastic for you. Eggs. Give it a little bit of bacon. Uh, have a protein shake, something like that. What are some things for breakfast that don't require eggs? Uh, that are good for you? Gosh, I mean, like I said, make a protein shake. That's usually the easiest way. If you're looking for a quick, easy meal, just just blend it up. Would having a protein shake every day be good? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, typically you don't want to drink all your calories. Uh, it gets digested different, but having a protein shake once a day is perfectly. Uh, Let me get something quick. I want to show you what I do, uh, and you know how easy it is. So I would recommend Magic Bullet. It's just a mini blender. You can add whatever you want to it. This is great for the mornings. It's easy. Uh, you know, milk, almond milk, fruit, vegetables, anything you want. You don't want to eat it, put it in there, blend it, chug it down. Uh, you know, best way to do it. What I recently found, these in the frozen section. So I always found that I would buy fruit and stuff like that, and it would just go bad too quick. So this is an excellent way of counteracting that. And you constantly have fruit for your shakes. I got the berry stuff. Berries are probably the best fruits for you. It has raspberries have the most fiber out of all the fruits, and fiber is kind of what you're looking for. A lot of the other fruits are kind of high in sugar. Bananas, apples, oranges are probably the worst for you. I'm not saying don't eat fruit. Just it doesn't really fill you up, and there's vitamins and stuff, but there's better ways to get it. Steel cut oatmeal. Yep, fantastic for you. Who says you have to have traditional breakfast food during breakfast time? You don't. Eat whatever you want. Peanut butter balls. Yes, those are great. I love the ones that you gave me. Overnight oats for the win. Yep, that's another good one. Really good. Let's see. Add some yogurt, kale, flax, chia seeds to those berries in the blender. Yes, that's a great idea. Flax, chia seeds, kale, all fantastic for you. You blend it up, you can't even taste it. And you're getting all that nutrients into your body. And if done correctly, that will fill you up for a few hours. Should you have a protein, fat, and carb for every meal? No, not necessarily. Obviously, you want a balanced meal plan. Fats are good for you. You need carbs, you need protein, uh, but you should work out a ratio that you get every day. Uh, you know, Preferably you should be getting more grams of protein than you are carbs, or sorry, fats, kind of stuff like that. There's also different ways to eat for what you're trying to accomplish in the gym. I don't know if you've heard of like carb cycling. Some people do that because the more carbs you eat, the more energy you're gonna have. So people cycle their high carb days for when they go to the gym, and they just lift like a beast. That's just one example. All right. It's a great discussion. Thank you. You're very welcome, Shu. Uh, this is always this is good because people are participating, which I like. It makes this much easier instead of me just blabbering on. So once again, before I move on, any questions? Uh, you know, Magic Bullet, fantastic. I would recommend that. Uh, get your frozen berries. Uh, you know, get that protein powder. That's another thing I didn't mention. I have another thing on my YouTube. I did one of these discussions on the best protein powders again. Uh, typically, there's vegan and there's whey and there's casein. Uh, Whey is absorbed best by your muscles. But a lot of people can have issues because it's a dairy product. So if you're intolerant to that, it constantly feel like crap. So you have to be. The vegan tastes like crap. I just wrote another blog, by the way, about collagen protein. Uh, so I would definitely read. Recently found those frozen avocados, which are, yeah, I was looking at those. How do they taste? Because I was going to get those too. Um, well, I think this is a good ending. We didn't get to discuss the myths of the gym and stuff like that. We could do that next time and also come up with another topic. If there's anything you want to talk about that perplexes you, just come up to me, message me, whatever. I'll be happy to do another one. Because like I said, if you have questions about it, I'm sure everybody else does. So as always, uh, let me